Entrepreneurs facing one challenge right now is stress. Is a common denominator between every single entrepreneur that I have met, interviewed over the last 5 years, is that they are extremely stressed. These are entrepreneurs who are extremely successful, entrepreneurs who are not successful at all, entrepreneurs who are just getting started in the middle of their journey, people making money, people not making money. It seems that stress, that tension behind your back, right here in your neck, is a common theme for entrepreneurs. A show of hands if you know exactly what I'm talking about, that little tension in the back of your neck, like the shoulders come up, just thinking about your business or thinking about life, or even sometimes thinking about family or friends or things that you got to go do. Sometimes you're just like, there's not enough time in a day to accomplish all of the tasks. For those of you who are new, welcome. This is Alchemist Nation's 52 Weeks to Wealth. We're going to get started in just a second. But before we do, for everybody who's been in the community for 4 or 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, you're just jumping in. Welcome back, Alchemist. This is the 52 Weeks to Wealth. My name is Walter Morello. We've been on this journey now for 45 weeks. So give yourselves a round of applause if you are committed to doubling your income and doubling your net worth. By the way, show of hands if you are making more money this year. That is the whole purpose. Excellent. Excellent. And one more thing for those of you who are new, just don't want to share what we are all about. Show of hands if you are committed to building 100 millionaires, who are inspired to building 100 millionaires. Awesome. Let's give all of our leaders, our coaches, our mentors, our mastermind members a big round of applause for doing what they do every single day to help others find wealth as they're on their journey developing wealth for themselves. We've got multimillionaires on the call. We've got millionaires, and we've got people who are multiple six-figure earners, and we've got people who are just trying to get to the top, all facing the same things. These are principles. They're not tactics. Principles are going to be true regardless of where you're at in business. Some of the people on this call have been with us for 5 years. That means every year they're increasing their income and they're still coming back for more. Drop in the chat why you still hunt for more income. And the answer, my wife and kids, is acceptable. Drop something in the chat. What is the reason you still hunt for more? The answer, being a better person, reaching my full potential. All of these are acceptable options. Drop in the chat. What is the reason you still increase income and are focused on increasing income? Better quality life, more interesting existence. There's all sorts of different reasons. Before we get started on this principle, by the way, Wealth Principle 45 is invest in assets that increase time, energy, or income streams. Show of hands if you had more time, energy, and income streams, you might reduce some stress. Maybe some of that stress in the back of your neck might melt away if we apply some of the principles today. I also want to validate that it is hard to acquire assets that increase time, energy, and income. And if it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. Everybody would have infinite time. Everybody would have infinite energy, infinite income streams. And there is something out there that stops people, good people, from doing things that would bring them assets. Show of hands, by the way, if you're familiar with what assets look like, things that would increase income anyway. Excellent. We're going to review time and energy as well today because those are a component to increasing money. In fact, I was having a conversation with somebody this week inside the community, and we were looking at their finances. We were looking, okay, like here's where their income is, here's where their debt is, and the progress that they're making across this channel of I want to get from one side to my actual target, to my actual goal. And as we were looking at the numbers, we started coming across a theme, a pattern. They weren't quite sure what was working. They weren't sure what was actually getting them more money or more time. It was just numbers on a spreadsheet. Show of hands if you've ever looked at your expenses and your debt balance and not been sure which one was helping you and which one was not helping you. So it's not unique to this entrepreneur, and it's not unique to the entrepreneurs that I've invested with and spoken to. Over the years, what I've found is that most people are just 1 or 2 assets away from a complete change in their lives. And usually it's cutting out things that actually leads to the development of acquiring those assets. Some of the most stressful things in your life are actually the relationships that you have. Sometimes it's cutting out negative, toxic relationships. Sometimes it's cutting out certain foods. And sometimes it's cutting out debts that no longer serve you. Has anybody heard of, maybe you haven't done it, but has anybody heard of somebody going on vacation with a credit card and regretting the vacation because of the credit card? Yes, it is possible that some habits, some bad habits have accumulated inside our lives and other people's lives. In business, there can be similar things. If you're looking to scale your business to get to the next level, you're going to require removing things from the business that no longer serve or work, but might have worked at some point. Show of hands if you've caught some of those already. Some things that were working at one time and then they shifted and now they no longer worked. If you've been in the digital marketing space, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I refer to a Google slap, when Google changes the rules or when Facebook changes the rules, or if you're a landlord, when the city or state changes laws or makes new requirements. These can be like they feel almost like handcuffs. Or if you were a landlord back in 2019, when the whole entire federal government makes laws and rules that affect you for 2 years, 2.5 years, when you can't evict or you have a hard time getting refinances because the market says it's not possible. So anyway, let's dive into today's principle. I've got some visual aids that AI made for us, so it'll be very fancy. I want to make sure that each of you is aware that it is possible to make $1 million in a 12-month period. Show of hands if you believe it's possible. Excellent, excellent. Show of hands if you understand it can be done without paying any taxes, completely legally. Excellent. I want to confirm that we do all of our deals in this community morally, ethically, and legally. Show of hands if that's true for you. Morally, ethically, and legally. Excellent. One more thing. Once you get yours, you're going to pay it forward to show others how to get theirs. That doesn't mean give it to them. It just means show them how to get theirs. Awesome. Excellent. Then I'm going to share my screen and we're going to review Wealth Principle 45 ways to get assets that increase income, time, or energy streams. This is, by the way, part of the book of the week. We're going to give that in a little bit at the end. And also, we're going to do a guided meditation. So, as we're going through this, if guided meditation is not your thing or you're not into books, you're wrong. So, pay attention and stick with us because this is a philosophy and a principle that has worked for millions of people over the years. All of these principles come from experience and come from education. So, first, time assets. These are resources that save or create more time in your day. I want you to write down the word time assets on a piece of paper. And on the next piece of paper, I want you to write down the word energy assets. And on a third piece of paper, separate from the other two, I want you to write down income streams. These are assets that generate consistent cash flow without constant effort. Assets and energy are investments that boost your physical and mental vitality. Now, with more energy, show of hands if you would make more calls or you'd make more effort in the right actions. All right, so we understand energy is important. Cool. So benefits of investing in these assets, well, increase productivity, financial growth, improve quality of life, and compound returns. If you do the right thing the right way at the right time, more often you'll end up with a better result faster. You're able to compress time. And so it makes sense to buy assets. These are, by the way, before I go any further, assets are things outside of you. We're not just talking about you yourself. An asset would be something external from you that's operating all the time. Show of hands if you understand that's how the compound effect benefits. If something outside of you is working all the time. Awesome. Cool. So let's dive back into it. So the benefits of investing in these, obviously getting more of your time back. Here are some examples of time-enhancing assets. Automation tools. We use CRMs. We use property management software. We use project management software. There's all sorts of different ways to increase your time using automations. Outsourcing services. These are virtual assistants. These are real estate agents, property management companies. These are partners. Sometimes you outsource through partnerships. Efficient transportation, quality vehicles, or proximity to public transit for quicker commutes. If you are investing out of town, sometimes it makes sense to have it always makes sense to have somebody in town who's a lot closer and go check on things. And then time management, productivity apps and planners to optimize your daily routine. Also your calendar. Another example of time enhancing assets. One of the things that I removed, I used to have a gym that was 15 minutes away. I went and got a different gym membership that was 9 minutes away. Then a new gym opened up. It was 5 minutes away. I just kept changing gym memberships to get to closer gym locations, not so I can spend more time in the gym, but so I can get home faster. Show of hands if that makes sense. Your location and where you're driving to makes a big difference. Dorina had a horse farm that was an hour and a half away. It made a lot more sense to shift farms to be 15 minutes away than an hour and a half. Show of hands if you grasp. There are things you can do to get your time back. Awesome. Sometimes location is a component of that. Energy enhancing assets. Oh man, before I tease you in this, who here is just clearly aware that energy is not what it used to be. Your body doesn't wake up the way it did when you were a 12-year-old child. Right? It just doesn't seem to operate quite the same. Now, I see some of you with your positive mindset are like, no, my body's always, always like it has always been. Wonderful. And it takes a strong mindset to get there. There are activities that increase your ability to do that. Eating the right food, uh, doing fitness routines. There are things that we can do to get our bodies maybe not back to the perfect, 16, 15, 20, 21-year-old body, but as close as humanly possible. So health investments, and consider a high quality mattress, ergonomic furniture, air purifiers, regular health checkups and preventative care and energy maintenance, dentists going and making sure that your teeth are cleaned and that you don't have anything happening inside your body that you're not aware of, getting your blood tested. There's all sorts of things that we can do and should be doing that we usually put off. I see entrepreneurs put this off more often than the average person who's a lower income earner. Show fans if you understand why entrepreneurs do that. They prioritize other stuff. Get to the doctors, go do your thing. Fitness equipment. And yeah, just being in the gym, just in general, yoga. Also, there's so many ways you can exercise without needing fitness equipment. But if you do have the access to it, man, I love lifting weights. So get yourself to a place where you can do it. Stress reduction, meditation apps, noise canceling headphones, relaxation spaces, reduce stress. Also, removing stuff in your house that you don't use anymore can reduce stress. Just eliminating things. Now, before we get into my favorite, which is income producing activities, income generating activities, I want to make sure that we all agree that we're going to do something on that sheet that you wrote down. But oh, I forgot to give you the instructions. Let me go back. The sheet that you wrote down for time, energy, I want you to just write one thing on it that you're going to do. Or if you wrote down a whole bunch, I want you to circle the one that you're going to do. Show of hands, you have things written down, or you want to go back to see the screenshot? Show of hands, you got things written down. Awesome. I want you to circle the one that you will do. And I wanted to make it a bite-sized thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing, or you have to say, I'm going to go to the gym. Just I'm going to do 100 push-ups, or I'm going to do 20 push-ups a day. Something in the time space as well. So I'm going to wake up a little bit earlier. I'm going to go to bed a little bit earlier. Or I will remove one call off of my week that is not a correct call, and I'll replace it with a good call. That can be a great way to get time back, is just changing who you're talking to or what you're talking about. Excellent. And then same with energy. Before we get into money, I want you to choose something you will work on for your energy this week. And I don't mean this year. This is not New Year's resolutions. This is just this week. So it's something you can implement very fast, something very simple, an easy way for you to know for sure that you're a winner, that you're doing something that's going to move your body towards better energy and your life towards better time. Show of hands, if you got something picked. Excellent. Awesome. All right. The big enchilada, the one we're all looking at. Unfortunately, there are a lot of different ways to increase income. There are a lot of income generating assets on the screen. You can take a screenshot, or you can do what I just suggested. Pick the one that you know is going to change your life the most. Just one to either study or implement this week. If I were to give you a guide, a mental guide of where wealth stacking works and where the most, by the way, I will do the talk of wealth stacking at the summit. I'll go into deep detail of where you should invest, when you should invest, at what age, at what money amount, at what balance amount, what income range, right? Certain investments make more sense. But I'll give you the quick overview of it right now. If you have absolutely no money, like no money and no money coming in, the first thing you should do is invest in a book. Book or a course that's free. The first thing you should do is invest in some sort of education that is either free or next to free, $7 or $10, because if you have absolutely no money, education is the problem. If you are now educated and you still have no money, you need to invest in work ethic. You need to get your ass off the couch and go and do a thing. So work ethic is usually the next big problem. So probably a coach, bringing on a coach, hiring a coach who's going to push you to get to the next level. Once you do have, let's call it $10,000, $15,000, you've got money now. Do not invest in stocks or blue chips or index funds or dividend paying ETFs or digital products or software as a service or membership sites or commercial spaces. Oh, you can do commercial spaces. You want to be on the real estate side, because if you only have $10,000 or $15,000, Either education or real estate is going to be the next most leverageable thing. Benjamin Franklin said the best investment is in yourself, but Rockefeller said the investment that most millionaires have is real estate because it's able to grow very quickly. It's very easily leveraged. As you get to that $1 million, you can start investing and diversifying out into this direction with the digital assets. So, fans, if that's simple enough. Simple philosophy. Rental properties, real estate rental properties are available to anyone, any income class immediately. REITs are not. Real estate investment trusts are like a dividend stock. They're not available until you're at a much higher net worth where it means anything. And then commercial spaces are just like any kind of real estate. So let's take a look at strategies for identifying valuable assets. Each person is going to be different. Whenever I do a strategy with a person, I look at four categories to their personal finances. The first being what they currently want, what their goals are. If I don't know what their goals are and what they're working with, then I have a hard time creating any kind of plan. So when somebody comes to me and says, okay, like, how do I become financially free? It's like, dude, I don't know you. I don't know you from a hole in the wall. How am I supposed to tell you how you are supposed to become financially free? I can tell you how I did it, but I can't guarantee you're motivated to go do the things that I've done. I can't guarantee that you have the skill set or even the discipline to do the things that I've done. I've had conversations with Jennifer Sullivan, who is an actress and an artist. She would never go and swing the hammer on deals the way I've swung the hammer on deals. She would never negotiate contracts the way I've done it because she thinks very differently. But she did wonderful writing books for people and ghostwriting, and she has a wonderful position in training people on how to write books. So fans, we understand different paths because different folks, different strokes for different folks. Awesome. So first, you identify what you have. What are assets? Assets you have. These are monetary assets. They're relational assets. I have probably one of the most valuable assets in the world, which is this community, Alchemist Nation. I have hundreds of amazing, talented people who I could pour into, reach into, and just say, hey, how do I do this? Or who do you know who might be able to connect me to this? Or, hey, do you have capital? Do you have a deal? Do you have knowledge? Do you have awareness? Do you have just, can you just give me some emotional support today? Show fans you understand relationships are a monstrous asset. So you can write down some of those key relationships as we're looking at this. Energy. I crush it, right? I'm able to go to the gym 2, 3 hours a day. I do yoga. I have a beautiful wife at the house. I have this beautiful child at the house. I have all sorts of ways to inspire myself and give myself energy. We eat healthy. So those are assets that I have. Show fans, if you have similar assets, you've got family, you've got a body, you've got ways to put your energy into that give you more energy. And income streams, man, I got a lot of income streams. I was sitting down with Ron the other day. We got our past. I was sitting down with Michael Shine. Who's like a fun story about Michael Shine. Mike gave me some powerful wisdom yesterday. We were on a call with him and Mitch, and Michael was telling me about a story, and he was saying business in a box. Not business in a box. He was saying business in a backpack. Now, Mike's been on this business in a backpack for like 3 years. He met this billionaire, and this billionaire changed his mindset, and he was like business in a backpack. And from that point, Mike was like, I need business in a backpack versus business in a building where I have to be. So, business in a backpack, the philosophy is you can run your business from anywhere. And as we were talking, Mike has built 5 separate businesses in a backpack over time, not overnight, but from thinking about them, focusing on that philosophy of how do I get myself into this business without me in the business. And that has been very productive. Then we had another conversation where we were talking about another friend of ours inside the community. And this gentleman's name is Steve, and he might own Subways with Melanie. And Steve was talking about a new hire they just brought on. Dude is a 6-figure hire. So the most expensive employee that Steve and Mel have ever brought on, but he's running all of their stores for them. And so they had a hard time with this philosophy. They're like, oh, man, because I've sat with Melanie coaching her, and she's like, oh, I don't know if I can afford it. And it's like, dude, like your balance sheet says you can, but emotionally, you're having a hard time putting that much money in a single individual. Show of fans if you've never paid somebody 6 figures for a role yet in your company. So it might be hard for you too when you get there. But this is a person who manages over 115 employees. So it's kind of a big deal. It's 9 stores. And so Steve put it the most beautiful way. And Mike Shine's the one who told me the story. So Mike, Steve, we were talking about you behind your back. Mike told me, he said, Steve sees it as it's just 6 inch subs per store that we have to sell in order to justify bringing this staff member on. He had an equation in his head that told him the number he had to hit in order to identify the path to bring on this new person. And that number was so easy for him at this point in his career that it became easier for him emotionally. Sometimes each of us just have to look at, okay, if I just do X amount, it brings me the ability to bring on that next hire, brings me the ability to bring on that next scale. Me and Gary were talking about it. How do we scale? We're looking for a sales manager inside Alchemist Nation to help our coaches to sell more because our coaches are wonderful people. They're great souls. They could change your life. They could transform you, but sometimes they forget to sell you on the program so they can transform you. Show of hands if you understand. If you don't sell, you can't save. You can't serve. So we're thinking about bringing on a coach to teach them how to sell and like have the conversation morally, ethically, legally. And Gary's like, well, how do we afford this? We're like, well, it's just a matter of selling X amount of program, and then we can afford that person who could then help our team sell more program. And so the math becomes cyclical. So fans, if you could do this in your program too, your company, your business, just look at how many more you got to get to the next staff member who can help you get to the next level or buy yourself out. So research options, various assets that address your identified needs. For us, our assets are coaches. For real estate investors, our assets are units or their capital partners or their wholesalers or realtors or property managers. And there's also different things. Analyze the ROI, return on investment of that asset. Is it helping you get to where you want to go? If it's not, seek advice, seek expert advice, and level yourself up. And this is a cycle that you continuously do. The more often you can do this cycle, the more successful you will be. Joe Fans, you grasp it's not a one-time deal because the market changes, your assets change, your equity changes, the cash flow changes, the inflation changes, all of these different adjustments. I watched my real estate business soar way past my stocks, way past my personal business. And then more recently, I've watched my business soar past my real estate assets. Just value, impact, cash flow, everything just soar past the real estate side. And that's a function of the market, and it's also a function of where time and energy have been spent. It's been significantly easier to invest in people, for me personally, and our team, than it has been to invest in the physical assets that we are very good at investing in. So your skill set may change and give you an unfair advantage in the marketplace. Show of hands if that's okay if you upgrade too. Creates unfair advantages for you to invest in assets that you previously didn't have access to. For example, me and Mike Shine, we were talking about this yesterday with Mitch Jorsky. Mitch is now investing in larger multifamilies than he had done in the past. He's doing flips that he hadn't done in the past because his business partner, his strategy has allowed him access to deals he previously didn't have access to. He's now raising capital from other people because that was the thing he didn't mentally want to do in the past. Now he's untapped his ability to do more real estate deals because he's gotten to a mental space, a new level within the Mitch Jorsky scaredy cat. There's a new level of I can raise capital and I'm okay with it. And he's recently done. Let's give Mitch a round of applause. He's absolutely crushing it in his personal development. All right, moving on. And for those of you just jumping in, we're talking about wealth principle 45, which is invest in assets that increase time, energy, and cash flow. So evaluating long-term potential of asset investments. One, we want to look at short-term impact. Assess the immediate benefits and costs of the asset. This is not the only metric. It's just the fastest and easiest metric. Sometimes they won't look good in the short term. Sometimes you have to look at the midterm and the long-term sustainability for an asset to finally mean something to you. Midterm growth. Analyze how the asset's value or impact may change over years. Some investments may buy your time back, and those are the most important ones in the beginning. Some investments may not bring a lot of money to your investment strategy, but if they bring your time back, that would give you more time to invest in those passive investments that bring more income in. Show of hands if you're familiar with the idea of your time being the most valuable asset. So you want to look at the short term, the midterm, and then the long-term viability. Sometimes you say, wow, okay, like investing in real estate today would be the best thing for me to do. But when you think about how much time you have to invest in real estate, you have none. So it's no longer an option. So buying your time back, getting people to help you or support you or bringing in staff or doing something to buy your time back allows you the ability to go invest in real estate. So fans, if you have to change things in the short term in order to get to the long term. So looking at all three separately gives you the ability to go back and readjust and continuously reassess. Number 4, adaptability. Evaluate the asset's potential to evolve with changing needs and technologies. This is one of the reasons we choose real estate over and over and over again is because if the market turns, let's say we change currencies. Let's say now we use whatever the yen is or something. Real estate, they're just going to pay me in whatever they're getting, right? Whatever the currency of the time is, real estate will just transfer and pay me that. Whatever its value is will remain in whatever new currency we're exchanging in. Show of hands if we understand that's an asset that remains valuable in whatever term we're communicating in. If the government shifts how they tax us, real estate is the most easily taxed asset and business in the world. They give it the most in the country. They give it the most tax benefits of all the other asset classes. So if an industry is likely to be disrupted, it will likely not be the one that's been around the longest and has had the least amount of changes made to it in a negative, detrimental way. So if hence we understand new technologies are most likely to be newly regulated. So those are the assets that are, in my mind, the most at risk. So we have to look at the asset and say it's adaptability. Even in the real estate space, we have this Airbnb. Who's watched Airbnb become more and more regulated over the years and watched the cash flow shrink and compress, the margins compress as more people get into the space. So new technology, even in real estate, can have an impact of your long-term investment. So you want to look at the adaptability of your strategy and make sure that it's in alignment with the long-term goal that you have. And if there are risks, you want to offset the risk by bringing in more stable assets, which brings me to balancing asset investments with other financial goals. Prioritizing is essential because if you're just looking to retire, then it could be just a factor of reducing expenses. So if you understand, retirement, financial freedom is just a income higher than expenses. And if you're sometimes you just cut all the expenses out, boom, you're retired. Go live on a farm, right? Or you do what me and Ron suggest. There's lean fire, which I just shared, and then there's fat fire. Fat fire just makes so much money that it doesn't matter what your expenses are. You can buy anything. You can impact everybody you want. You can have a positive impact on your family, create a legacy wealth. Show fans if fat fire is okay with you too. That means earn a lot of money. Out earn any expense that could come into your life. So diversify your investments. This is later on in life. It makes sense to diversify. In the beginning, it makes sense to hyper focus. When you're not very good or not very talented or not very big, you want to hyper focus to get some sort of ground. But then over time, once you've acquired ground and you want to keep it, you start diversifying to protect. So fancy we understand diversification is like a parachute. It opens up, it slows down impact. And hyper focus is like a bullet. It gets you there faster. It ensures getting to the distance. So focusing on one asset class in the beginning and then diversifying later on to protect is the strategy. Set clear objectives and regularly review your investments. To maximize impact of assets, continuous education is required. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a big education buff, not just saying that because I read a whole bunch of books. I'm saying that as someone who's a multimillionaire who still discovers things I haven't learned yet. As somebody who's been extremely successful, who's young enough to know that there's a long way I've got to go, and old enough to know that I know absolutely nothing when it comes to how to do the billion-dollar goals, or how to hit massive impact in the whole world. And like we were talking about global warming this morning. Show of hands if you don't have enough money in your bank account to change global warming, even in the slightest. Yeah, I feel the same way. So there's things out there that we still have to learn. Leverage synergies, the right relationships allow you to get to the next level. I know Lauren, who's in our mastermind, he hired a fitness coach to help him get in more fitness. The irony is the dude's already fit, but he's in there with a fitness coach getting fitter. This is something that I've seen with high net worth individuals. Myself personally, I hired a coach to help me get better at doing our business. And show of hands, if you've hired coaches. In fact, one of my partners, Greg LeBlanc, just hired another coach to get himself to the next level. He's hired many coaches. He's hired Grant Cardone. He's invested in Grant. He hired us. He hired now this new coach just so he can keep leveling himself up. Dude's already extremely successful, deep in the network. He's in our fund. He's at the highest level that you can go inside Alchemist Nation, and he's still making investments in himself. Show of hands if that's why he's at the highest level inside our fund. Let's give Greg LeBlanc a round of applause. Only 5 members in the fund, and Greg is one of them because of hard work, discipline, reinvestment in himself. Number 3, reinvest gains. Ooh, oh, that's the best part. I love gains. You just roll them, reinvest them, keep it going, and then track and optimize. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that before we shift over to the book of the week, and then we go into our guided meditation. Track your success. Track your failures. Track and optimize. This is the most boring part of success. But Ron and I do this often. We went back about a year ago and we said, which program have we sold that made the most millionaires? Which program out of the 38 products we sold all sorts of things, names on deeds, get the money, get the deal, buy real estate with no money down, uh, be the bank, work with investors, you name it. We taught a class on it. Social media, how to take a selfie. Like we were teaching classes because we were like, whatever it takes to help people become successful. 38 products. It was a super complex business. We used to keep bringing these products back, different webinars, different products, different courses, boot camps, masterminds. Show fans understand it's a lot of work to keep all those websites up, to do all this work. Some people filled the room. Some people, we had 10, 15 people in them. And as we started reviewing and evaluating, we first looked at the money because, hey, we're business owners. Show fans, if you look at the money first, too. Which one paid me the most? We did. We were like, okay, money first. We noticed our mastery program was the number one product, which we only sold one time a year. We only sold the mastery one time a year. We still only sell mastery one time a year, but it was our highest income product. And then we looked at the people who had the most impact. And one of the sub products that was inside mastery, it's called our Mastermind, was the number one product that built financial freedom, built millionaires, right? 31 millionaires over the last 4 years. And so we said, wow, if we just cut this down to just these two products, mastery one time a year and mastermind throughout the year, we'd be building millionaires and we'd be making the most amount of money ever. And we wouldn't have to sell the other 36 products. Show fans if you could do the same in your business by cutting some stuff out. We would only know that because we have 4 years of history. 4 years of track. We went back and looked at 4 years of income, 4 years of results, because we track all of you. We track to see where you're at, how your finances are going, where your success is, the goals you set for us. And some of you, by the way, we've made more people financially free than we've built millionaires. Hundreds of people financially free. Show fans if that's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of people financially free. That's a metric we probably should track better. But a lot of people financially free, 31 millionaires. That's a tangible asset that we know we've done. And as we look forward into the future, I'd like each of you to consider the fact that it's a system that you track that will dictate your success. The system you track, the metrics you track, if you're changing things all the time, it becomes really hard to track. But if you can stay consistent and change one piece at a time, and then track the data, it lets you know if it's working or not. Yeah, Gary, speaking of Mastermind, Monday's a holiday, Mastermind members. Monday's a holiday. Spend the time with your family. Also, leaders, coaches, authors, and yeah, coaches. There you go. On Monday at 5, our Monday training that we normally do for all of our leaders, you got the day off. Go spend time with your family. So this Monday at 5, we're going to give everybody the day off, mostly because Gary wants to take the day off to go camping with his kids. So let's give Gary a big round of applause. Everybody gets Labor Day off. Our dream managers, aka business consultants, our 6 o'clock call on Monday. We're taking that off as well. So everybody's got that Monday off. And then what is the other call? Mastermind members at 8 o'clock. So Mastermind, we're going to take a Mastermind off. So go spend the time with your family. Everybody's got Monday off, except for probably me and the team. We're going to get on a call and talk about how we can level things up and grow everybody. So fans, if you still work the weekends, you work the holidays, I know that's that stress thing I was talking about. You got to let it go. So we're taking a day off. And so guided meditation. Actually, before we do the guided meditation, book of the week, we do the guided meditation every week. We do the book of the week every week. And before we do that, who here knows they're going to the summit this year? Knows the summit's all about generating income. That is the main focus. It is generate income, increase cash flow. Awesome. Darina asked me to remind our VIPs that there is a backpack. The VIP is limited to only 40. There are only 40 backpacks. So if you're like, can I buy a backpack? The answer is no. Only the VIPs get backpacks this year. Inside the backpack, by the way, why do VIPs buy the VIP? It is not for the sweet VIP tag that says you're a very important person. It is not for the shirt, the swag that comes inside the VIP ticket. It is obviously not the sweet notebook that there are only 40 of that come with the VIPs. It is not the sick, sweet cup that says business and real estate. Actually, it says Alchemist Nation on it this year. That is not the reason VIPs buy the VIP ticket. No. It is not the one day they spend with me, the one day they spend with me and the business consultants leveling up their strategy. By the way, VIPs, you get there on the 17th. We spend a whole day together. We hang out with Vinny Chopra and we hang out with our business and real estate professionals, our business consultants. We're going to work on strategy, scale, increasing income, from a management point of view, from a hiring point of view, from how do we bring in people to do the work for you. So VIPs, we're focusing on how to get you out of the business. And then let me tell you why VIPs buy VIP. Mostly VIPs buy VIP because other VIPs bought VIP. So the people who are the players tend to spend a little more on the ticket so they can be in together and they don't have to worry about, is this person a player or not? VIP just says that you're serious. It says that you're a player. It says that you believe in yourself. It says you're going to the next level. And so the people who buy VIP tickets tend to be the same kind of mindset of, let's go do something together. And the VIP signifies that they're all committed to leveling up and networking and getting at the highest, absolute highest level. So fans, you understand VIP means something. It means you're a very important person. The summit is October 18th to the 20th. Tickets are on sale now. And also the hotel. If you haven't booked your hotel, book your hotel because that is running out. That is actually sealing up the hotel itself. And you do not want to end up at an Airbnb when networking goes super late. And you do not want to be at an Airbnb when you have to show up super early in the morning to get at maximum of all the networking and maximum of all the training. So book your hotel as fast as you humanly possibly can. It's in the email. If you don't have the email, send an email to events@alchemiststation.com and make sure that you've booked your hotel for the event. If you have not talked to your friends and family about coming to the event with you, think about it this way. The only people you want at the event with you are the people you want to work with going forward. You're going to be building your business plan. So you want the people who are going to be invested in the business to be there while you build the business plan. This is salespeople, this is staff, this is partners, this is spouses. This is the people that you want to have bought into the business plan. Because if you build a business plan with us, then you come back to your team and you're like, okay, guys, this is what we're doing. It's not the same as if they were there with you saying, hey, you know what? I heard what they said earlier. I took different notes than you took, and I think we need to implement this inside the business. That's a part of the business plan that you wouldn't have had if I wasn't here with you. So, fans, you got players in your business who are like that, people who are absolutely valuable. You need them there with you while you're building the business plan. I spoke with a gentleman named Marvin, and he said to me, he said, look, I want to do this and I need to do this. He said, but I really need is my team there with me. Can I bring my team with me? I said, yeah, bro, just pay for their tickets, right? Bring them in with you and come and work together. And he said, that's exactly what I need. So let's give everybody on the call a round of applause who's coming to the summit this year. I can't wait to see you in person. We'll get the high fives, get the selfies, and also the talks are fire. We're going to talk about all sorts of things that increase income. We're eliminating all the fluff. There'll be no fluff talks. All the talks are very consistent and specific towards you hitting your success and your goals. That being said, Michael Shine, every week there's a book of the week that tie into this wealth principle. This wealth principle 45 is one of the most powerful wealth principles for an investor. Invest in things, assets that save you time, energy, and income, increase your income. Michael Shine's been with us for 5 full years, more than that, but it's 5 years since we started the season, and he is the keeper of the books, the holistic attorney, the closer. Michael Shine, what is this week's book of the week? Let's give him a big round of applause.
Hey, let's give Walter a round of applause. Always telling everybody else, but nice job. So yeah, The Richest Man in Babylon. This is, oh my God, this is one of my absolute favorite books. It's number 2 on the Foundational 5. I don't know if you've seen the list of Foundational 5, but Walter always tells us to read them in order. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad first, then Richest Man in Babylon, then Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, then Think and Grow Rich, and then The Science of Getting Rich. And I love that this is number 2, because in my journey, it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad that like turned on the light. It was kind of like, wow, oh my God, I'm not going to be stuck in a W-2 job for the rest of my life because the government taxes the crap out of you and you don't make any money and you just have golden handcuffs. And anyways, so then next comes The Richest Man in Babylon. And oh my God, it just opens your eyes up about so many things. What was it? Seven
Laws of gold.
7 cures for a lean purse. That's so huge. The rules of the gold, the rules of gold. It's just, and what I love about this book is that it's set in Babylon in BC times. And so you're sitting there saying, all right, well, this doesn't have any application to now because we're in 2024, but you would be incorrect because all the rules that George Clason wrote in 1926 still apply to this day. And I was listening to it this morning just to refresh my memory on Audible. No, there's no shame in Audible. That's a time asset. get Audible and listen to books a lot faster. Um, and it's just the rules that he's saying are just so perfect. Like pay yourself first. That's just such a great thing to start with. Take 10% before you pay your bills and live off the 90%. Because what are we doing here? We're going to sit here and work to pay bills and to pay other people and never get ahead. Doesn't make any sense. But here's this book from 1926 that tells you that. It's just mind blowing, and it's so much fun, especially on Audible, because the guy has an old timey voice. He sounds like he comes from Babylon in the ages. There's a whole first chapter that talks about the real history of Babylon and how they found it. It's fun to listen to, but it's so educational. And I think every year I mention this fact that one of the things he does is he invests in jewels with the Phoenicians, but he takes his advice from a brick maker. And it's like and then they say the Phoenicians were scoundrels and they gave them pieces of glass that looked like jewels. And so he lost all his money. And it's such a great tip. Like, I think Walter might mention this at least once a month, that you don't get advice from your broke friends about making money. Like, you don't go to the brick maker to get advice on jewels. You go to the jewelry manufacturer or any of the other things. And that's what I'm saying. So today in 2024, we're still hearing from Walter, don't get advice on making money from your broke friends. And that comes right out of Richest Man in Babylon. Such a good book, so much fun to listen to. I recommend on Audible, like I said. So many great pieces of advice. There's like 10 different stories in here, and each has a piece of advice. So that's what I got.
Give
Thank you.
Michael Shine a big round of applause. He's the keeper of the books, the holistic attorney, the closer. He's got a bunch of closings coming up through the community, through Mitch Chorsky, through us. We appreciate you, Mike. Keep closing our deals. Now, for this principle, I will add the 5 laws of gold. Go look those up. They are phenomenal. And if you haven't listened to the story of Arcad and the merchant, it is one of my favorites when he talks about the importance of work and falling in love with work, and just work will set you free, and work will be your guide. Man, like when times are tough, work has saved my ass. It's saved my soul. It's saved my company. It's saved my sanity. Just being able to put myself into a position where I know what to do and I just grind through that work gives me a place to solve some of the problems that life has brought to me. And I think for each of you, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes there's a time to just grind and get through it. Show fans, if you're familiar with those moments, and you may be in one of those right now. And I'll even encourage to get into one of those right now. Get into a phase for the next 45 days as we're leading into the summit of head down, get the work done, build the right relationships, pour into your family, pour into your body, pour into your business, and just stay super hyper focused. Which reminds me, Doug McGurk's going to help us do a guided meditation. Before we jump into the guided meditation, I want to warn you that next month's wealth principle is wealth principle 46 and 47. I'll be combining 2 wealth principles so that when we get together at the summit, we'll be doing wealth principle 52 together, live, in person. The question I get every year that I do this, will you be doing the 52 weeks to wealth live virtually if everybody's at the summit? No, I will not. We will be live in person at the summit doing wealth principle 52. Wealth principle 52 is sharpen the saw. So we'll be sharpening each other. We'll be working on the same principles of the entire year, one time, one more powerful weekend than any other weekend together. So the warning I was going to give you, aside from Wealth Principle 52 and Wealth Principle 46 and 47 being combined, is that Wealth Principle 46 and 47 are simplify your business and life. That's Wealth Principle 46, simplify your business and life to get more time back. And then Wealth Principle 47 is the Law of Hyperfocus. So we will both be cutting out and focusing, sharpening our intention next week. Show fans, you know that's going to be a very intense principle. It's one you have to be at. You cannot miss this one. It's super important. Yeah, anyway, back to the warning. Doug is going to guide us into a guided meditation. If you are driving, please make sure that your eyes remain on the road. If you're one of those people who is like, well, I'll be fine, I'll just listen to it, and you end up swerving into a vehicle, that's on you. Please keep your eyes on the road. Guided meditation will take you to a quiet place. It'll take you to a space where you're focused. So please, if you're operating machinery, or you're holding children, or you're driving a vehicle, understand that you've been warned. Keep your eyes open. Do what you're doing. For everybody else, if you're in a safe place, I give you Doug McGurk, the Maximizer. He toured with Tony Robbins for 3 years. He's trained his coaches, trained his staff, and he's trained hundreds of entrepreneurs, real estate agents, real estate professionals all across the country to unlock their minds to the greatest potential. Doug's been with us for the last 5 years, pouring in and building our 31 millionaires, building this community, helping our coaches level up. He's been at the summit every year speaking with us. He'll be on stage again this year, running the Dickens process that he learned through Tony Robbins, that he brings to the community. And it is by far one of the talks that everybody who's been through it before says, I got to get there for that talk. So I'll let you know it's going to be Saturday early. It's super early Saturday. So if you know about this talk and you want to be there again to see it properly, you want to get there early, Saturday morning, super, super important. That being said, let's give Doug McGurk, the Maximizer, a big round of applause.
Right on, right on. Thank you. And by the way, give yourselves how many have been here consistently for more than a few months? We got some years here. So, oh my gosh, you are showing how committed you are. You're showing that you're doing whatever it takes. And to the point of the book, the fundamentals. What we're getting here are the fundamentals. And when we master these, we apply these to every area of our life, our life will improve. And then when we lean into it and build our relationships here, it gets even stronger. How many have already improved just by being here once or twice? You already were like, okay, I get it. I'm moving on into greatness. So let's do some dehypnotizing and eliminate some of the old chatter that has been going on in your brain and bring in some new. Let me know if you're hearing some music. You getting it? All right. So why don't you go ahead and take a nice, big, deep cleansing breath in. Roll your eyes up to the back of your head. Do you feel a little strain? And relax. That's right. Now, take another big, deep cleansing breath in and tense every muscle in your body. Tense every muscle. Tense your arms, tense your legs, tense your gut, tense your butt, tense everything. Tense it, tense it, tense it. And relax. That's right. Now, with your eyes closed, as you settle into comfort, let your mind drift to a majestic river, its waters flowing effortlessly toward a vast and nourishing sea. This river, wide and powerful, represents your life's energy, your time, and the potential for wealth flowing towards the ocean of infinite possibilities. As you breathe deeply, with every deep cleansing breath, feel yourself sinking deeper into relaxation. Just as a leaf gently descends onto the river's surface, and it's carried effortlessly by the current. Each breath you take is a synchronized flow to the river, guiding you deeper into a state of serene awareness. Watch the river as it travels endlessly toward the horizon. Notice how it nurtures everything in its path, providing life and opportunity, just as your investments can nourish your life. If you can connect even more to your higher power, God, Mother Nature, divine principle, universal intelligence. Breathe that in right now and repeat these affirmations aloud or in your mind. I am a wise steward of my resources, investing in assets that enhance my life. My decisions increase my time, my energy, and my wealth, flowing endlessly like a mighty river. And I wonder as well if you can ask and answer these questions, these affirmations. Why is it so natural for me to invest in assets that grow my resources? How does each investment I make multiply my energy and expand my time? What makes me so effective at channeling my assets towards increasing my wealth? Imagine now that along the riverbank, there are various trees, each one bearing different fruits. These trees represent the assets you invest in, each with its unique potential to grow and multiply what it receives from the earth and sun. So choose wisely which trees you will plant along your riverbank. Nurture them, understanding that they require patience and care to bear fruit. Each fruit from these trees is a symbol of the returns on your investments. Whether they increase your time by freeing you from daily tools, enhance your energy by removing stress and gaining peace, or expand your income streams, becoming more plentiful with each passing season. Harvest the fruits of your investments, savoring the security and abundance they bring. As you reinvest the seeds from these fruits, perpetuating the cycle of growth and abundance. And as you prepare to return from this tranquil riverside journey, remember that the river's flow is unending, just like the potential of your wise investments. With every step you take in your waking life, let the wisdom and foresight of your choices guide you to invest in assets that truly enrich your existence. Feel the certainty that with each investment in valuable assets, you're not only securing your future, but also enriching your present. You are the master of your resources, and with thoughtful care, you cultivate a garden of abundance that thrives across all seasons of your life. Carry with you the image of the river and its nourishing trees as you awaken from this session, empowered and inspired to make decisions that enhance your time, energy, and income. Each decision is a step towards a more abundant and fulfilled life, just as each mile of the river moves closer to the boundless sea.
This guided meditation has to be one of the most impactful of the series. Many of these each week. We know that Doug has been working on a project where he puts these guided meditations available for the community. It is something he's been doing on the side, on top of everything else that he does for us. So let's give Doug McGurk a big round of applause. He's been getting a lot of value from his guided meditations, these guided hypnotics. And for each of us coming back, you know what I believe. If you had a great idea, something that came into your awareness, a piece of clarity, something that you're either newly aware or something that's come up before, now is a great time to write it down because the subconscious mind is very good at keeping you right where you're at. So when you get great ideas in moments like this, sometimes it says, I'll remember it. That was so important. It's so easy to remember that. And that's the subconscious mind's way of saying, don't write it down unless you really want to change your life. So now is a great time to write down anytime you do a guided meditation or you have a moment of clarity. Sometimes this happens to people in the shower, happens while you're driving or while you're working out, or those moments of lucidity right in the morning. Now that's the perfect time to write it down, especially after a guided meditation. Write down any thoughts or ideas that came to you, moments of certainty or clarity. This is the thing I have to do in order to be successful, or this is the thing I have to remove, or this is the opportunity, the biggest opportunity for me. Write that down now so that you can have it for you in the future. The worst thing that could happen is you have a great idea, and then 2 or 3 days later, you're like, okay, now it's time for me to go implement that great idea, and then you forgot it. So if that's happened to you before, and you won't let it happen again, hopefully. Also, when you're writing down your notes, remember, don't use shorthand, don't use quick, simple notes because again, the subconscious mind will try to trick you and say, yeah, shorthand's fine. It's, just you got to get it out quick. It's no big deal. Has anybody ever gone back to their notes and not been able to read them, not known what that meant? Like, oh, this was supposed to save my life, and yet I wrote 3 lines, 3 words. Be detailed in your notes, remembering that future you might have 3 weeks have gone by and you completely forgot the context of this note that you left yourself. So be loving towards future you and also understanding that sometimes you're not at your perfect state when you're reading notes or going back through things. So the better details you can give yourself, your future self, the more likely you are to set yourself up for success. Let's give Doug McGurk a big round of applause for all the work he's been doing with us and the work you've been doing. My favorite part of the week is the Q&A session. This is by far where the greatest questions come out. Questions are a form of proof that you've been doing things. So without activity, there are no questions. Without jumping into opportunities, jumping into projects, we never have questions. Doug will be at the summit this year. He'll be helping us amp up our energy, keeping the energy up all across the weekend. He'll also be making sure that our minds are open to new opportunities, to new connections, to new relationships, and keeping our hearts open as we're in a new location. It's very easy to get, into our old habits. Hopefully, one of the benefits of traveling and getting outside of your home is that you don't have all the old baggage holding you back. So being in a new space, Doug will just help you maintain that energy and keep us going through the weekend and giving you some tools so that you can power through any difficult tasks that we provide you. Some of the tasks will be difficult emotionally, mentally, physically, financially. Some of the things that you're given at the summit, by the way, will be scary. First time you've ever done it will be overwhelming. First time you've ever done it. It's okay. We're building a business plan that's going to make $1 million. So if it's okay to do scary things, if it gets to the thing that you want, and financial freedom to me is something worth fighting for. So let's give each of you a round of applause. You're booking your flights, booking your hotels, booking your tickets, bringing your friends in, making those invitations. It is also scary inviting friends to things, even if they're successful friends, maybe sometimes, especially when they're successful friends. I know my brother, the first time he invited me to a success event, I've been going to him for years. So I was the only person that said yes to him. He invited all his friends he really wanted to be successful in business with. He invited all of them to go to this Master of Influence event that he and I were going to together. And he said, Walter, it's crazy. None of them want to go. I said, yeah, Josh, get used to that. The path to greatness, the path to success is going to mean you have to find new friends. It means that, and we went out and we met a whole lot of people who were at the event. We realized we've got a lot more in common with these people than we did with the people we started off with back in Fall River. So if that may happen to you as well, as you're traveling, if you're developing yourself, you may find people who are more in alignment with your future you and maybe less in alignment with your past you that you're looking to get away from. and that's okay. It's part of the process. Let's open up the Q&A. First, unmute wins. I see Billy Reuters bouncing around his head. I see Mitch Jorsky, who has a quote for us, as always. I know Pete Ambrosino is one of our business consultants, so I want to get Pete to get a share on this. So first, unmute wins. And any questions from the group? Now's your chance.
Well, I want to say congratulations to you, Walter. I did see your credit post with the 800 Club. So let's give Walter a round of applause and, celebrate his successes as well on the personal credit side, because he's always celebrating our successes. So I did see that and wanted to point that out on this call and give you your flowers while we can.
Give Tashin a round of applause. In the mastermind, he's closing deals. He ran a PowerPoint for us a while back on foreclosures and how to save people from them. And also, so we're clear, Tashi, it's the second time I've hit 800, but the first time I was only 806. This time I'm 826. And it's just a sign that staying in the game, making all your payments, keeping to your commitments will pay off. And really, why did my score go from 600 all the way up to 800? It's because utilization. I stacked up for an investment. And then we just paid off that investment, and now we're right back to where I belong. And you know what we're doing? Increasing credit limits right now. Now is the time to increase business lines of credit. Now my score's right, and I picked up business lines of credit for each one of our businesses. So this is something that will, just as a tool that Tashin brought up, improve your credit, work on your credit. I know a lot of people say you can buy houses with no money down. You sure can. You do it with no credit. Absolutely. And also, if you want the cheapest money there is in the market, get your credit right. Keep working on it. Keep paying your bills. It's worth it. It is so worth it. Thank you, Tashin.
100%. And I'm glad to see that you posted about it, because I've been on the same journey, and I had just got the notification the same day that over the last 90 days, my personal utilization has reported under 10. And this month, my utilization reported at 1%. So we are on the journey together. Just a couple of shares for me. August has been my most successful month in real estate. I was able to lock up my first ever cash deal with what I would call an insulting offer, buying a property for 5K. I was able to get a opportunity that could be a very good RAL in the Dallas-Fort Worth area under contract. And this is the first month that I will have had 3 contracts locked up in the same month. Also put a property on MLS this month. And what we did this month, I'm looking to have my first $30,000 month next month, which will be the first month that I have ever made $30,000 in my life.
Give Tashin a round of applause. Show of hands if you're ready and willing to get to $30,000 months. Tashin, let me ask though, how long have you been on this real estate journey? Because it's not been a short time. You've been busting your butt, you've been growing, you've been working on yourself. How long has it been that you've been on this journey?
I have been on this journey, I would say, for 3.5 years. On this journey, just grinding, learning. The biggest thing I will say is over the last 6 to 7 months has just been taking action regardless of the consequence and overcoming the obstacles, because I've been confronted with them and I didn't know what the obstacle was until I allowed myself to be put in the place to have to deal with the obstacle.
That's powerful. Let's give Tashin a round of applause. Love seeing your success, brother. Love having you in the mastermind, and you're an inspiration to all of us. Who's next? First to unmute wins.
That was epic. I got to follow up Tashin just because the rap quote flows right into, his journey. And it's funny because you guys are talking about credit. And in theory, I had a loss in terms of credit score, completely not in my control, so to speak. A business loan somehow getting reported on my personal credit. So that threw my utilization out of whack. So my credit score is now under 800 for the first time in like a decade, and I'm pretty not happy about it. But anyway, so there's wins and losses, And then, Tashin's been on the grind. And like he said, there's some stuff along the way where he didn't know what to do and, whatnot. But at the same time, it's the same end goal for him and same end goal for me and everyone else. So I think a quote from Drake is appropriate where he said, "Oh, well, guess you win some, guess you lose some, as long as the outcome is income." And that's what's up.
Mitch Shorsky, scared to get guide to real estate investing. He will be speaking at the summit about helping his business partner become financially free, about working with disc personalities that are not necessarily meant to work together, how to make that work, how to help your family. This is, one of his closest friends he grew up with, how to help him get his financial freedom, get into a job and a career that he loves, and how that's also helped Mitch and his partner build financial freedom, build wealth for themselves. Although Mitch and his partner will both agree they're not financially free via fat fire standards, but they've gotten to the point where they could get by at medium income levels, and now they're looking for that next level because that's just how you do it. You just keep leveling up.
Facts.
Awesome. Billy or Pete or one of our members, go ahead.
I'll jump in this one.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Who is that?
Go ahead, man.
All right. I appreciate it, Pete. Yeah, so again, I'm looking down. I took down a lot of notes, and there's three quick things that showed up for me today. So Walter was talking about, and he says every week, right, with the meditation, if you have an idea through Doug's meditation, write it down. So a useful tactic that I think might serve all of us, and I think I shared it here once or twice. On your phone, right, we have a notes app, and I literally have a folder, and I think this will serve all of us, a folder called Divine Downloads. You can call it whatever you want, right? But there's so many times I think we would recognize and agree that your unconscious is on overdrive. You're at the mall, you're driving, or for me, my morning walks, bingo, and an idea just pops in. And very similar to what Walter said, it's like, oh, I'll remember that. That's so cool. Man, your phone is usually always on you. When you can quickly go to your notes, again, for me, it's called Divine Downloads, and just jot it down. Because if you don't write it down, like Walter already said, you're most likely going to forget it. And there's so much insight, so many beautiful ideas that channel through you, which I think is, not to sound too woo-woo, but man, we really open up and we get a lot of ideas. So you really want to have a position and ability to take it down. Second thing, this is, I think, really critical because Walter shared about it today, I believe, with Steve, with Subway. A lot of times, guys, in sales, there's two big aha moments that Walter shared today that would serve us all. We're all heart-centered entrepreneurs, right? There's no one on this call that has ever been like, I'm just here to get rich and buy a Maserati and screw everybody else, right? Every single one of us has a beautiful, compelling story of how we want to serve others. The reality is you cannot serve unless you sell. And that's just the truth, right? Whether it be financial exchange or relational, right? I can't serve my children if I don't sell them on the idea of taking care of their body, their mind, and their spirit, right? So selling really is a critical skill. And to bring this back to Steve from Subway, how many times as entrepreneurs, we know we need to level up and your unconscious mind is holding you back saying, I can't afford that. What Steve did on a sandwich level is so powerful that I think it's a lesson we all can learn from. How can we afford a six-figure employee that will help us optimize our systems to optimize our revenue, right? So all we have to do is create 6 more sandwiches per location. And that's really the question. Can I afford this is not really the question. It's how can I adjust my systems so I can afford it, right? VIP right now is $997. Right now, when Walter said that, and you guys said, oh, I can't afford that, that's an unconscious response. Take the time, pen to paper, get a cup of coffee. How can I afford this? What do I have to sell? How many more offers do I need to make? What can I do to get there? Because VIP, again, I get no commission for this. It's because of my love for you, love for the community. And I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for live events. And more importantly than the event was the people that I met. So guys, get there. I cannot stress it enough. This is the opportunity to upgrade your life. I love you all. Pete, my better looking brother, off to you.
Give Billy Reuter a round of applause. You know why he likes the VIPs? It's because the VIPs sit in the front row, and that's who he gets to see when he's on stage. Let's give Billy Reuter a round of applause.
That's awesome. Hey guys, I just wanted to add in a couple things. Speaking about credit, and I love what Tasheen has done, and I love the journey that you've been on, my man. I really honor how you've stayed the course and you've stayed around the people. Exactly what Billy says. You become who you hang around with, right? This is a group of high quality humans that meet and have nothing but the best intentions for your wealth and well-being, right? The same with, taking care of your body. I have clients that they put all their energy in building their business, but they're not taking care of themselves, and they show up to work yawning. I mean, just freaking no energy whatsoever, right? So just capitalizing on that has to be paid attention to. Another thing that I thought about was when we were talking about credit rating. Did anybody hear the news that the Social Security, all our Social Security numbers were compromised? Right? It's kind of crazy if you think about that, right? So somebody has all of our personal information. How many of you have actually put a freeze on your credit and have control of when it gets opened up for yes? That is, in my opinion, one of the best protections for any of the fraud and stuff that's going on in the back end of things. And how many of you actually use a personal financial statement as a personal report card on what's going on with our good debt, what's going on with our bad debt, our income? Is it show of hands? Anybody's using those? Super powerful tool. It also serves a little bit like a cash flow statement. And it's something to where you monitor, and it's just what Tasheen has done. He literally changed his financial position one increment at a time in order to be able to open up the ability to purchase something. And then he found a freaking amazing deal, right? So that's what I got for you today. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Give Pete Ambrosino a round of applause. He currently does tour with Tony Robbins, so him and Doug are used to hanging around with the big guy. And I was hanging out with Pete the other night. We were doing pipes and profits with Gary Aker and a couple of our mastermind members. And Pete was showing us pictures of him and Tony Robbins, like at one of Tony's big investments that he's buying, some energy plant out in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, it's wild to see the people that are pouring into this community. So Pete's on our business consultant council. So there's only 5 of us, and we just talk about like the coaching program itself. How is it working? How are we implementing it? How are our coaches doing? How are like their clients doing? And Pete has been really instrumental in a lot of those conversations, along with Mark Delfini, Billy Reuter, Doug McGurk, Gary Aker, and Heather Frazier. It's been really transformative. So if you don't have a mastermind that you're working with right now to develop your skills and develop your company and develop your next level, you should have one, right? I don't know who needs to hear this, but even with Alchemization, we have our masterminds, and then we have our councils, and we have our board of advisors. We have these boards and these councils and these masterminds that are designed to increase the knowledge, the awareness, the intensity of each one of those categories within our company, within our organization. Show of hands, you could at least have one, at least one that's focused on your development and your growth. And there may even be room for others. And that's something for you to consider. The members within this community are good people to create councils together. They're good people to work with together. Even our leadership team, we get together and we talk every Monday at 5. That is another version of a mastermind. It's a council where we're all getting together and we're saying, hey, like, here's how we run our communities better. Here's how we work with vendors better. Here's how we work with sponsors better. Here's how we work with our trusted team better to help our community members level up and get to that financial freedom. We don't tell everybody, but our goal is to build 100 millionaires in every location. Sometimes we just tell them financial freedom, but really secretly, show fans, if you know, our leaders are aiming at 100 millionaires each. It's, under the radar. It's secret. Go ahead, Michael.
I just wanted to add to what Pete said because I learned something else from Steve and Melanie yesterday. So whenever you go for a loan, you end up doing a personal financial statement. And what Melanie points, which is awesome because it kind of forces you to do that personal financial statement. So go out there and make lots of offers, and then you have to do personal financial statements every week, which Walter recommends. But what Melanie said is that she puts her personal financial statement on Google Docs, so it becomes a live document. So every time she's requested, she doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. So if you're doing a personal financial statement, do it on a live document. So it's something obviously secure behind a firewall, all that good stuff, but do it someplace live so you don't have to go through the task of doing it over and over and over again from scratch. So that's what I got.
Give Michael Shine a round of applause. That is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful strategy. That is how we've been doing it for years. Anytime Ron needs my PFS, he's got it already in a Google Doc. Anytime something adjusts, he and I just jump on a call. I update the numbers, and he's able to rock and roll. When you're submitting a bunch of loans, when you're submitting a bunch of offers, having tools, this is an asset, right? This is a time-saving asset that also allows you to get access to more cash flowing income assets. Those little tricks and tips make it easier. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, so Larry's not here to speak for himself, and so I will speak for Larry.
I'm already nervous. Jen Sullivan's already scared.
Well, Larry came down to speak at one of my meetings that I had, and great. He was talking about credit cards, the credit score. So I want people to understand, don't obsess over your credit score. It's just a game. And here's the thing. If you have a 850 credit score, what good does it do you? It does nothing for you unless you use it. All right. So what Gwalter said earlier is my credit score is over 800. So I'm gathering credit. I'm gathering credit now. I'm going out. I'm reaching for more lines of credit and stuff like that. Larry was talking about credit cards. He has over $1 million of credit on credit cards. Not $1 million of expenses, $1 million of credit on credit cards. Now, do you know what you can buy with $1 million of credit on credit cards? Anything you want. But some of the people in the room did not understand it. And Larry's talking, he's like, yeah, my credit score is 640 right now. So he's got $1 million of credit on credit cards. Who cares what the credit score is, right? And so some of the people in the room were like, why would you want all those credit cards? It doesn't make any sense. And I had to reach down and tell her, I said, listen, you build credit when you don't need it. Because when you need the credit, it's too late to go try to find it then. You build the credit when you don't need it. And so I explained, if I'm trying to flip a house and I run short $40,000, if I've got $250,000 worth of credit on my credit cards, I will go finish my project so that I can get paid. If you didn't build your credit when you had an 800 credit score and get that type of available credit for you, you're going to go bankrupt. You see, so you don't build the credit to go buy groceries. You don't build it to go spend wild, lavish vacations. You build the credit to use it to make income at a later time. So don't obsess over your credit score. The credit score is good to have, but when it's there, you need to build more credit. That's what it's for. And it's just a game. It's all a game.
Give Gary Aker a round of applause. So we'll be speaking at the summit about leadership, and sometimes leading your family towards better credit is a form of leadership and influence of the market. Michael Shine, you did something really cool with your credit. You did a HELOC on your house. Like it was you turned your mortgage into a HELOC. Or can you just explain how you did that so you paid down the mortgage a lot faster?
Yeah, so apparently in places like Canada and Australia, it's really profit. Hang on one
Oh man, he's about to give us absolute
second.
fire.
HELOC in Canada and Australia, it's very popular to just get a HELOC on your house. If you do this in the United States, you just kind of have to educate your banker. So we had a mortgage on our house, just a regular 30-year mortgage. And I went into the bank and I said, hey, I want to get a line of credit on my house. And I said, I want $300,000. And they said, you don't have enough equity in the house. And I was like, you don't understand. I want to pay off that first mortgage completely, so I have plenty of equity. And once I explained it to them, they were fine with that. And what we did was we paid off the first mortgage, replaced it with a home equity line of credit. And that was probably 10 years ago now. We've just been using it. We've refinanced into better rate home equity lines of credit, but I used it to buy my law office. I used it to buy a 6-unit in Newport. And it's just been a great thing because every time you pay that mortgage, a standard mortgage, that money goes away unless you refinance. But with a home equity line of credit, you can, your money can go up and down. And we definitely chunk it down more than I would the $3,600 a month I was paying on my mortgage, which was super stressful. But we do it in big chunks, so it's amazing. I can add to that we also use credit cards and pay them off at the end. We pay everything we can on credit cards and pay them off with a HELOC at the end of every month because HELOC's works based on average daily balance. So if you do a regular mortgage, you get whacked with like mostly interest for the first 5 to 10 years, but average daily balance on a HELOC can be much lower. So the last thing, so we estimated that when we moved to a 15-year mortgage, we would be able to pay it in 11 years because we had agreed to pay an extra $300 every month. When I switched from that 15-year mortgage, so it was a 15-year mortgage, to the HELOC, we estimated that it was going to take 5 years and 4 months to pay it off completely. And we were diligently doing that. And somewhere along the line, Brenda had an epiphany and she's like, you don't want to pay off this mortgage, this line of credit. You want to use it to go buy other properties. So that's what we did. And it's been working really well. So yeah, that's what I got.
Let's
Yeah.
give Michael Shine a big round of applause. And then Michael obviously has used the Burr strategy. Once he's purchased them with the HELOC, he uses the property itself as equity to go refinance and get his HELOC money back out of the deal. It takes a year or two to get that done sometimes, but that is the strategy that still works in this market today. I share it because I was on a call with one of my buddies inside the mastermind this week, actually Antonio Bradford. And I was thinking of Antonio Bradford with this strategy as I was talking about you again with Gary last night. By the way, I talk about you behind your back. Show fans, if you know, most of you I talk about behind your back with our mastermind. I'm always thinking about like, how do we help you get to the next level, regardless of whether you like it or not. We are having conversations to see how we can improve your lives and get you to your financial freedom. So thank you for your goals. Thank you for your honesty, your transparency. I can't help you if you're lying to me about what your situation is, but if I know where you're at, then it makes it a lot easier to say, okay, like based on where we're at, here's what we got, and let's move forward. Let's take one more question before we jump off. Who's got a question or a share?
Yeah, I would say just on the home equity line of credit that we were just talking about, another reason why that strategy works way better than a traditional mortgage is because when you're paying the traditional mortgage, you have that one lump sum payment. Mainly everything's going to, interest and then taxes and insurance. But when you're paying the HELOC, we actually just subject to the home equity line of credit. You're mainly paying principal and interest. You don't have your taxes and insurance included, so majority of your payments going directly to principal, which is forcing you to pay less interest over time and allowing you then to keep utilizing that same thing, which you can't utilize a mortgage. So that's one of the benefits. For me, I'm realizing that for quite some time, I've been a salesperson that is generating income, but it's not a fully functional business. I cannot walk away from the business and still make money. So therefore, I just have a job that pays me sporadically when it chooses to pay me just a higher amount than the average individual is getting paid at a job. So that is what I'm working on now, is to try and navigate the process of going from being an entrepreneur to actually being a business owner, so that I can have the ability to step away and still allow the operations to continue.
Give Tashin a round of applause. A very good awareness, and most business owners will hit it eventually, but many will hit it too late. Wealth Principle 33 is build your business to sell your business to get rich. At the summit, that is our premise. I know I've told you that we will be focused on increasing income, building a business plan to hit $1 million, to get your valuation of your company to be $1 million. Remember, my real intention is to get you financially free. So I'm looking to build the business, get you out of the business, and ideally sell the business while it's at a point where it runs itself, because businesses occasionally fall apart. One employee leaves, one change in the market shifts. They're not like real estate. Real estate, it's just put a new property manager in place and it's pretty much, back to the game, back to the races. But in business, every 7 years, a business has to be rebuilt all over from the ground up in order to sustain or scale and get to the next level. So we say, build your business, sell your business. That is the premise of it. If you can't sell the business, it probably sucks to be in the business. So get it to the point where you can sell it, you can keep it, right? You get to the point where the business is saleable, which means you're not operating in it, you can keep it. So at the summit, Tashin, you're 45 days away, man. Do as much work as you can to get yourself cleaned up, to get yourself in the right position. But at the summit, especially on the VIP day, we're going to be focused on scaling. And on the summit itself, the 3 days, we're going to be focused on building the business plan that gets you to a saleable business, that gets your business so you can exit in a year or two if you choose. Some of you may stay. It's like that show, Love It or List It, right? After you go and renovate the house, you may want to keep the house. And once you go and build the business to the point where it's running without you, you may decide to keep it. And some of you may decide it's time to sell. And that is a very good place to be. Next week, Wealth Principle is Wealth Principle 46 and 47. Simplify your business and your life, and the Law of Hyperfocus. So we're going to be cutting out, and we're going to be hyper focusing on the right things, the one thing, such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary. Summit tickets can be purchased at alchemiststation.com. You can go to summit.alchemiststation.com. If you want to meet any of our coaches, give them a big round of applause, send them a message to them, connect with them. These guys and gals are here to change your life, get you to the next level. If you are one of our coaches, thank you for your commitment to yourself, to your community, to your career, to leveling up and helping more people. If you're in our mastermind, I plan on bragging about you at the summit. So keep doing what you're doing, keep locking down deals, keep building relationships, keep raising capital, soft commitments, everything that you're doing. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. I'll see you on the next one. Happy Labor Day. The day of labor, a whole holiday to celebrate labor. I love it. Cheers.
Appreciate you, brother.
Hard
Bye-bye.
work.
Thank
Let's
you.
go.
All right, y'all.
Hey, what program did you use to make those slides, Walter?
Gamma.app.
Gamma.app.
It's sick, bro. It's sick. And then over the Gamma app, I just put the Alchemist Nation logo. It's like copy, paste, 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 paste. It's always in the same place.
Cool.
Gamma.app, man, it's going to change your life. And then
I'll
get the
give it a
paid version so you can make more than 10 slides.
try.
Put it on a card.
Yeah,